So, welcome to this CPD webinar. This one's really good. They're all good, of course. So this one is CPD webinars for the AI age. For me, the AI age is crystallization of automation. Get rid of the stuff that you don't need to do to focus on the stuff that's important. And this training is certainly a part of that. It's a 1-hour CPD. You'll get a CPD certificate somewhere towards the end. Not at the end, no cheating. And I promise you this is worth listening to. Listening and watching. You'll get a QR code that shows up. They'll get you your CPD certificate. Really excellent piece of tech. You'll also see there's a QR code here. You can click this now, in fact. Take a quiz. That'll unlock some resources, give you help you need to deal with AI. We're an AI training and transformation company. We're all about training staff in your corporate environment to get the most out of AI. Not be scared of AI, but use it. Go with the AI. That's my version of Star Wars anyway. Look, wherever you found this, whatever platform, please feel free to share it. This is free for a purpose. It's on a platform. We want to spread this message so we can stop wasting human time, and be human beings, not human doing needless stuff, right? So that's our whole mission. Helping people stop doing needless stuff to do the stuff that's really important. Work's important. That's our philosophy, but we need to do the right things. So that's our philosophy at AI Now. A little bit of introduction. And this webinar is a little bit of meta webinar. It's about how you automate CPD webinars. If you're someone that takes CPD webinars for your professional development, please share it with your friends, especially the people who organize the webinars in your organization. And if you're someone who's responsible for organizing CPD webinars, please share this with your colleagues. I'm really trying to emphasize, we've got stuff that we're doing in our work lives that doesn't need doing. And more importantly, once you follow this through, you'll deliver training, CPD training, for your audience that's much more apt, and it gets a better result because you'll be able to capture their attention. I'm going to go through all of that in detail right now. So here's a table of contents. I'm going to do a little introduction, going to go through the why, the what, the how, and what you need to do right now. Remember, we're all trying to get the best we can for our people. And here's a quick introduction. Don't forget, click the code, take your quiz, absolutely free, takes 2 minutes. Let's get going on this. So look, this is me. I'm the Chief AI Trainer, AI Now Academy. It's a little logo. So for me, I used to work in tech before my current career, and I've been watching AI since about 2000. And it literally is, when I was a kid, we used to have a program called Tomorrow's World. And it's all about predictions of the future. And for me, the future is here. And AI is now. I can't say that often enough, because we are literally living in sci-fi world right now. I know we haven't got the hoverboards or flying cars just yet. I think they're probably coming. Some of the stuff AI does is amazing. And focusing back on this webinar, I think we need to stop wasting time on doing stuff that we don't need to do anymore. So this all came out of our presentation. We were exhibiting, I was speaking at the CPD Expo, XL London 2025 in November. And it was some ideas coming from there where, why do we do CPD? right? I'm going to go through that. But in times of great change, you need to make sure all your team members are empowered, they're upskilled, they're prepared and ready. Because the time we're about to go through, or we're currently actually going through, is the biggest challenge. And where you've got the biggest challenge, you also have the biggest opportunity. So give me your full attention for the next hour or so. I promise you I'm going to make it worth your while. Okay? So while I was doing this expo, and it was all about CPD webinars, while I was preparing for it, this idea kept coming in my mind. Look, CPD webinars are history in the format that they used to be delivered in. I'm going to take you back to, for me, CPD has been fantastic for my development, but it went through a sea change during the lockdown of 2020 and so on. Organizations discovered webinars, and I was talking to, webinars delivered virtually. And I was talking to some organizations, and they were saying, well, why don't we do this virtually? And at that point, it was Facebook. Everybody sort of knew of Zoom, and suddenly, when the lockdown came, Zoom became the magic thing, right? And now there's equivalents of it. So if we look at history in great times of change, you suddenly get a mind shift. And that was the mind shift for that brought Zoom into, I'm saying Zoom as a colloquial, webinars and so forth. Everybody was on Zooms, right? And now they are the future of CPD webinars. Everybody does CPD webinars virtually. If we think about it, if you're doing bite-sized training, half an hour, is it worth traveling an hour, 2 hours to do half an hour training and come back? It wasn't worth it then, but nobody knew how to do it. So once we all learned how to do Zooms, but let's call them webinars, there was no going back. So an evolution of that, even before then, I was thinking, well, we could record this stuff, we can install it, we can play it. Hopefully you get the connection with history and RIP here, right? It's a bit of an in-joke that I'm probably not allowed to make officially. So look, record your stuff, install it, and let the attendees play it. That is the summary of this training. And I'm going to break it down bit by bit for you. Hopefully you'll get what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So for us, if we think about training, what you're actually doing is giving your team members more stuff to do. That's not what they need. They've got enough stuff to do. Work is busy. Work is stressful. But you need to get them to change. You're trying to help them. But what we're actually doing is giving them a bigger burden. It's literally like this chap here. That's what training looks like. And you're saying, it's more stuff to do. I've got enough things. I'm struggling to manage what I'm doing at the moment. And what I always feel is the reason for the training, it's a vehicle to get transformation. Transformation that helps us in our daily lives of work. Don't give us more of a burden. Give us resources and training that helps us to lighten our load. So that's where we come from. Training is only useful if it delivers transformation, and one of the best ways of delivering transformation is CPD bite-sized training, a little bit at a time. Okay, so I'm going to go through why CPD webinar automation is the future. Occasionally, everybody makes predictions. Occasionally, we get them right. One of the ones I made was when AI launched. I wish I recorded it somewhere because it's actually come true. I said Google search engine's in trouble. That's a different conversation. I'll go through it. So look, what's the current situation for CPD webinars? I'm going to go through it, break it down. I'm also going to say what's the complication. It's all about the factors involved, the time and the costs of not only taking a CPD but delivering it, and how we can make that more efficient. And the next question is, how do we make CPD webinars for the AI age? They're a perfect vehicle for delivering bite-sized training to help everybody move along, to get used to what's coming with AI. And we know it's all coming. And of course, once I finish this, once you watch all this webinar all the way through, you will realize that the future of CPD webinars is bright. There's probably a catchphrase there, but also this is the way to do it. And this is why this training is absolutely free. Not only is it free, you'll get a CPD certificate. Okay, so look, this is the CPD process. I'm going to go through it later on, but the most important elements are here. The key to this is to be able to automate the CPD certificate delivery. Now, there's a company that's launched this product that helps you do that. I'm not being paid by them. This isn't an ad for them, but it's just the training that said this sparked a series of ideas where we can make this CPD delivery of CPD webinars amazing. So once we can automate this bit, what happens next? You don't need to do, as a CPD provider, and this is looking at attendees and providers, you don't need to do the CPD certificate. But this led into a set of ideas I already had previously, and I'm going to share it with you. You get rid of doing the CPD certificates, but don't stop there. Because what happens is you don't need to create the certificates. They're done for you. You don't need to manage the webinars. If you can automate the webinar delivery, you don't need to do managing the webinars. The other thing that it helps you with, from the attendee's point of view, get rid of the waiting time. Potentially, if you can automate webinars, you can literally say, here's the webinar, I want it right now. Bingo. Piece of magic. And what that does is collapses that time. That bit of time when you're waiting for a webinar, you found a webinar as an attendee, you booked it, there's a couple of implications of time there. You've got to wait to get there. Yeah? You could have emergencies, you may not make it, even if you're organized. And if you're disorganized like me, you'll forget because something else crops up. You know, we're all busy. So for attendees, once you can automate the delivery, it gives them a better result. Back to you as a provider, you don't need to send out reminders. And you'll get a bigger distribution. So we're also going to talk about how you automate webinar distribution. So look, whether you're an attendee, so for you as an attendee, you can have CPD on demand. That's what we can call it. Why CPD on demand is better. And going forward, from where I'm looking at AI, we're going to need more CPD, not less. Because that's a really great way to transform it. In terms of the CPD webinars, we need to get rid of this time that we have to wait for them. If you need a CPD, and before we had CPD webinars, when you're doing a project, you're thinking, how does this work? If only there was a training on it. And a few weeks later, you see the training and you thought, I could have done with it earlier, right? So now, once you can automate the delivery, you're saying, I can have CPD webinar whenever I need it. That's what we're trying to get to. So I'm going to break it down in stages, but there's a surprise coming, so stay till the end. It's not done in this way, and I'm going to share a roadmap with you. So just to recap, for the attendee, you get rid of this thing to wait for the time. For the provider, not only do you get rid of CPD certificates, you also potentially get rid of a whole lot of other stuff, i.e. you don't need to create the certificates. You don't need to manage the webinar. And if you can really do the whole flow, you'll get rid of the reminders. You'll get rid of the organizing, the booking as well. It's a 3-step approach. This is what the situation currently is, and I'm going to help you eliminate, as a provider, all of the stuff at the bottom. I'm going to show you how it's eliminated. And as an attendee, get rid of this thing that you have to wait time for. When you need CPD training, it should be there. That's the future of it, basically. So we're on the why. Why you want to do, what's the current situation, why we need CPD webinars. I've got to put my headphones on, so I'm going to put these on. Make sure we get I can hear what's going on and try and get the best sound. Right, okay. Why? Why do we need CPD webinars? What's the current situation? Yeah. And why we're going to continue to need them. Okay, first of all, they help with professional growth and career advancement. Now, there's strategies for continuous development, expertise, and workforce resilience. Great way of doing it is CPD webinars, little bite-sized training. Big fan. Really, for me personally, it's been super in my career development. I didn't always have access to CPD. And when you get into a profession that has a requirement for it, it's... Anyway, I'm going to go through it in a bit, right? It's like being forced to go to school, but school's great for you, right? So it's a bit of that analogy, yeah? Okay. Evolving your expertise. Why is CPD so powerful? CPD, for the world we live in, because it's moving so fast, it's literally crucial for career longevity. If you want to do things properly, you need to expand your skills, stay current within industry. Everything's moving so fast. Reinforce your knowledge. So, look, first of all, we need to expand skills. You get technical skills. Also, there's an element of training for soft skills, right? The only thing we learn, there's very few things we're born with. Everything we know now and do are learned skills. Basically, it's all a collection of skills. Okay. You also want to stay relative and competitive. And this is where huge impact, AI is going to have a huge impact. Keep up with how things are being done. Every profession is changing extremely fast. Believe it or not. And the tools, the software, the hardware, everything is moving. So you need to stay relative, stay competitive. And one of the other things about CPD is refresh your core knowledge. It's like maintenance. You need to keep your existing professional skills up to date. And when you look at it from that point of view, you'll begin to understand, okay, we need to do CPD. Now, it also helps you build confidence and skills, okay? Provides a safe environment. Current skills acquire new ones. Significantly boost your self-esteem. So, for example, a great one is you go to a CPD training, you meet some people, even on Zoom webinars, this happens. People ask questions and you think, crikey, that's a good question. I was going to ask that, but I was too scared. So that's one of the things. Or the conversely, you think, that guy's an idiot. I knew the answer to that. Enforces learning. It's a bit naughty, but we've all thought it, right? It also fuels motivation, gives us a fresh perspective. Sometimes we have debates with it, right? Yeah. You say, no, you're wrong. I've had debates in CPD and I've thought, what's this guy talking about? That's so obvious. This is how you do it. And especially remembering the guy saying, no, that's not right. You can't do it this way. And I said, okay. So if you were to do it, how would you do it? Show me. And he actually came up with the answer. So, you know, this happens all the time. So it's great for that. And it's chunks of learning. I think you don't appreciate it once you're doing it. Okay, so obviously the reasons for CPD are help foster a resilient workforce. And this is getting more and more important now. So what's the strategy? You need to have high quality CPD rates. So CPD helps with attrition rates. You know, if you're getting training, you're feeling more comfortable doing the job. And the impact of that, I mean, this is an unbelievable study. I couldn't get my head around it. The programs are sort of thinking about, they're saying there's some research done, that it's equivalent to keeping 12,000 teachers in place every year. Yeah, that's the retention significance. You don't always understand it until you look at it, okay? Inclusivity. Research shows CPD is effective for keeping people engaged. And excellence, you know, if you've got a workforce, you need to keep the skills up to date. Make sure they're skilled. They understand what we're doing. Great for CPD. So let's discuss the what. What's the complication here? Okay, just a quick reminder. There's the QR code. Scan the QR code, take a quick quiz, take you 2 minutes. Get some great resources. We're going to come up with some great stuff. Probably be there by the time once you take the quiz. And we love sharing stuff. Okay. So, what's the complication? What's stopping us doing it? So, let me go through the CPD process as it currently is. If we start from the attendee's point of view, so the first thing is they have to discover and book the CPD. Find the right CPD. Is it interesting enough? Is it going to do what I need it to do? Is it about what I want? So they'll book it. Now, what happens next? Usually those CPDs are scheduled a week or something away, or whatever time they're scheduled. So you're thinking, damn, I've got to wait for this thing, right? And sometimes you need to learn the skill there and then. It's literally, you're working on a project, so how do I do this? Well, it's training. You know, we've all been through a number of times when we said, oh, that would have been perfect for that project. So we're sort of learning in anticipation rather than learning as needed. And once you book it, you have to wait. You attend the webinar, right? Which is great. And nowadays, more and more, they're being done online. Even organizations that weren't quite dinosaurs, but they're saying we need to do stuff online because there's no travel cost, there's no staying overnight, and they get more attendees. So unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you like, they're going towards online events. And what happens next? Once we attend the webinar, we got to wait again. What are we waiting for? Get our CPD certificate, right? It's important. We're sitting there thinking, all right, there's 2 lots of waiting here. This is from the attendee's point of view. Let's have a look at it from the provider's point of view now. Okay? So the provider, assume they've created the CPD. That's a given, right? That's a whole bunch of other things we want to discuss. So they've got to organize the booking, set up the event, set up a registration process. And yes, you do get automated tools, but it's still got to be done. Okay? Then the next thing these tools do is send you reminders. And then you're scrabbling around looking for, where's my Zoom link? How do I do this? When is it? You know, you put it into, however organized you are, you're thinking, when is it? Where's my Zoom link? Have I got my Zoom link? Of course, there's other delivery mechanisms available. not being paid by Zoom, not yet. Anyway, so the provider then, they've got to manage the webinar. So behind the scenes, you've got to manage the attendees. You've got to make sure the person delivering the webinar turns up. Whole bunch of drama. Sometimes I've been delivering CPD webinars and you get a personal situation going on. You think, I'm not sure if I can make it because it's fixed so far ahead. Emergencies happen and you think, who's going to do the webinar if I can't turn up? You know, I've designed the CPD training. You've said it's had to be organized at a certain time and date. But we all have situations, and as someone delivering it, you're thinking, I'm not sure if that's what am I going to do in an emergency, right? So in terms of the provider, they've got to make sure the person delivering it turns up. All the people taking the webinars are turning up. Now, look, we've been through forced training, if you like, in the lockdown. So everyone's more or less used to doing CPD on Zoom, right? Zoom webinars. What happens next? Okay, so they've done the webinar, and I didn't realize this till I saw someone doing it. And you'll see this on webinars. It said, please put the name in that you want your certificate to be. Someone's actually checking that you're there, who's attending the webinar, and then they have a process for creating certificates. Obviously, they're not sitting there writing it all out by hand. I remember when we used to go to pre-lockdown, right, pre-2020, used to go to in-person CPD events. They'd have the certificates there. You'd get your certificate, or you wouldn't get it if you didn't turn. You know, that sort of scenario. So look, the world's changed. Most of it's online. They're doing their CPD certificates. This is the task a provider's got to do. And when they've done that, they'll send the certificate. So during the lockdown, I thought, well, I think this stuff could be automated. Big fan of automation. Now, once the CPD webinars went online, automation became easier. However, this is the topic, right? How do we automate this stuff? And it all started with CPD. Or shall I say the key point was CPD Certificate Automation. I'm going to come to that shortly. So that's an overview of the process from the attendee's point of view and the provider's point of view. Don't forget, you've got two different points of view. Okay? Now, let's think about this a little bit more. You're only going to do something if the value of what you do exceeds your cost. You know, and there you are. That's the magic equation, right? The value of what you're delivering must exceed the cost. Okay. These are the biggest three factors attendees and providers need to understand. There's the monetary costs, right? If you can lower these, your value is always exceeded. Let me explain that. Look, attendees sometimes pay for them. They have subscriptions. They have course fees. Sometimes they're free. So from the attendee's point of view, there's money cost. From the provider's point of view, there's also monetary cost. So we've got to think about the money. More important than the money is the time. Okay? Traveling. So that's been done away. We all have virtual trainings now. But there's still time pressure, right? If you're going to attend a webinar at a certain time or a date, you're still going to say, well, something might crop up. I might not be able to make it. You've got to deliver a project. Various issues come up. And it comes up for everybody. You're not alone, right? I thought it's just me having a disorganized life or a challenging environment. It's everybody, yeah? Don't worry. You are not alone. And here's the thing that nobody considers. Attention. So, if you're not fully present, it's harder to learn. the things that are being taught in the CPD. And in my point of view, attention is a function of time. You need to pick the time when it suits you, when you're least distracted, and when it's suitable for you, yeah? Rather than when the webinar is organized. So in my ideal world, I would like to pick the time I take my CPDs, okay? Let's focus a bit further on the attendees' point of view. So they've got costs, right? Some of them have budgets, some don't pay, some are provided by companies. But there's a cost, there's a financial cost. And weighing against that, CPD webinars are more or less mini trainings. You could do a little chunk of training, get a good result. So the cost may not be a bigger deal, right? It's a great strategy for having little mini taster trainings, just like this one, right? So time, second most valuable resource. From the attendees' point of view, they've only got so much of it, and they've got enough to do. They're saying, you're going to give me more training? You're telling me I've got to do work, and now you're going to give me training. So it's one of the biggest issues that they face, yeah, and organizing calendars for a fixed time. So once you book a training, you've got to keep that clear, which can be hard in pressure of work, yeah. And then when you're doing the training, you've got to manage your workload, calls coming in, and so on, right? Things happen in work, always. And I'm sure you've done this. You've sat through trainings. Not this one, of course. This is magic, right? You've sat there and thought, this is a complete waste of time. I'm just doing this for the CPD tick box, right? So make sure it's not a tick box exercise. In terms of attention, like I said earlier, attention is the biggest factor with attention. It's a function of time. You need to be able to pick a time when it's convenient for you, not when it's fixed. That's the biggest tip I can give to create your biggest impact on attention. Try and choose the time that suits you. But if your CPDs are fixed, you're at the behest of the provider, right? So it's not the best. From the provider's point of view, we talked about the provider's point of view, it costs them money and it takes time. Time is a very big function. It takes a lot of time. They'll also need to organize the bookings. And once they're booked, send reminders. And I know we have systems to do all of this. You still have to manage the system, right? You still have to make sure the system's working. So reminders are being sent, all of this stuff. Okay. So I would say one of the most stressful parts of organizing a CPD is managing the webinar, making sure the speakers are there, they're delivering the stuff, and then you've got to track the attendees. Who's there? Who are we going to get a CPD certificate to? Have they turned up? And I'm sure you've heard this announcement. Please put your name in that you want on your CPD certificate, because that's how they track them. Yeah. Then they have to go and create the CPD certificate. Obviously, they do an upload and it churns it out. But it's still work, right? I'm sure it's a lot of work out there. CPD certificates get sent out. I mean, the ones I've been on sort of a week later or something. So you're thinking, damn, this is taking time. And the provider's thinking, it's another lot of work we got to do, right? So it's a lot of work. So in this section, we're going to have a look at the how, the question. The question is, what's the action plan? What do we need to do, right? Quick reminder, click the QR code, start your AI journey, and this is going to, some good stuff to come here, so get ready for this, yeah? How do we automate CPD webinars? So this is a strategic guide to implementing evergreen delivery, enhancing engagement, and reducing operational overheads. Bit of a mouthful. But this stuff is, it's pure magic. It's the only thing I can think about, right? So look, for me, 2020 and that lockdown period was a challenging period, but there was some good stuff that come out of it. It was challenging for everyone. But look, webinar automation is available and feasible now with standard technologies. This is not rocket science anymore. Yeah. A lot of it's not even technology. Well, it is technology behind it, but it's more automation. Cost efficiency. They're great. You could eliminate travel, accommodation expenses, distance conferences, all of that stuff. There's something to be said for that, right? And we can all, if we sit there, think about it, we can personalize learning. Yeah, create more webinars, different varieties, different types of learning. And I know, look, digital stuff isn't the best, but for what we've got going on, it has its advantages, right? So we are in the webinar age. There's organizations that had live trainings that are saying it's not feasible anymore. The webinars, like it or lump it. We're in the digital age. CPDs are mainly going to be webinars. I mean, makes sense. You're not going to travel an hour, 2 hours to do an hour training, travel back. Right? It's just the time expended on getting there, doing that bit of training is not always worth it. Yeah. So look, I've done this before. I've just gone through this just now on this training. You can rewind, just quick run through from the attendee's point of view. They find the webinar, they book it, they have to wait time. And it's not always convenient. They turn up to the webinar, then they have to wait some more time before they get the CPD certificate. Yeah. From the provider's point of view, they're organizing the bookings, and I know there's software, reminders get sent out, and obviously people miss the training. Then they have to manage the actual webinar, the person delivering it, make sure they turn up, and the person doing the training saying, I've got an emergency, something's come up. And again, with the attendees, same scenario, yeah? Once the webinar's delivered, they've ticked off all who's come in, who's not, however they do it. They've got to create the certificate, and then they've got to send it. So, can we automate this? And the key here is, it's not the way you think it should be. It's when I sat there, thought about this, it wasn't the way I expected it. And I'm going to run through now. Okay. So here's the CPD roadmap. Here's the CPD automation roadmap. Thought long and hard about this. This is really, I've got to share this with you, right? And the one thing I've got to emphasize with you is automating the CPD webinar process, you've got to do it backwards. What do I mean by that? So you automate the CPD certificate first. Okay, that makes sense. Well, it doesn't make sense, but I'll show you in a minute, right? The next phase is you automate the delivery, how it's delivered. And this is where I talk about record, install, play. And play is the final bit where you automate the distribution. Distribution is how people find your webinar. Yeah. A lot of companies have their own departments that organize it, but sometimes those webinars are not there. You've got to go outside to get those webinars on a particular subject. Yeah. So how can we automate it to deal with all of this stuff that goes on behind the scenes? And I'm going to show you right now. And it's going to be good. Right. So the first step is to automate, and you're doing this backwards. Just get your head around this idea. Step one is to automate the certificate element, yeah? So you cut out the time the attendee waits for the certificate. It's done. For the provider, that's great. I mean, the stuff's magic. You just eliminate a chunk of work. You're just getting rid of the having to mark the attendees, upload their names, check the boxes, create the certificates, email. It's all gone. This piece of tech that these guys have brought out, and I'm going to share it freely with you in a minute. When I saw this, I thought, you just don't understand what you've solved here. Obviously, they knew there's a demand for it. And when I learned about this, oh, it's just like pure magic. Yeah, by the way, they're not paying me for this. Not yet. We're trying to negotiate a deal. Right. That bit, do the last bit first. And it'll start to make sense when I show you the rest. Okay, so that bit's gone, right? It's going to get done automatically. This webinar is a demonstration. Sorry, let me go back. That CPD Certificate Automation is demonstrated in this very webinar. When I show you that QR code, click it, fill in your name and email, bingo, you'll get the certificate. There's nobody in our organization doing that function. So if you're the poor person who has to sit there, watch this webinar for the 50th time, while people like me make stupid bad jokes, because all you're there is making sure I turn up, you're calling me saying, Dill, are you going to be on this webinar? And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm stuck in traffic. I'm going to be 10 minutes late. I've had that. I've literally done that. I'm stuck in traffic where I'm supposed to be delivering the webinar. They're saying, are you going to be on this damn webinar, Dill, that you promised? Sorry, swearing, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm getting there. They're stuck. They're trying to get me to get on this webinar. Oh, sorry. Rewind that. That's, I'm getting carried away. Okay. So if you're the poor person who's watching my webinars for the 50th time, just so you could tick the people there attending it, this is brilliant for you, right? Okay. Basically, and it's going to be demonstrated in this webinar, we're going to show you a QR code. Click it, name, email, bingo, done, right? So if you're the person who has to do all of that, watch these webinars for the 100th time, right? This is going to sound like pure magic, right? Let me show you the next step, right? I was talking about it earlier. It's organizing the webinar. You're the poor person ringing me up saying, where the hell are you, Dill? You're supposed to be here 15 or 20 minutes early. You're not ready for the sound check. What are you doing, right? And I'm going there. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm got stuck in traffic and I'll be there 10 minutes late. You're going, what do we deal with this? I was going to say something. I'm sure you've had this if you're organizing and running the webinar behind the scenes. And also, don't forget, sorry, I'm getting carried away here. From the attendees' point of view, once they book the webinar, they're having to, this is backwards, right? So they're having to wait for this webinar to show up, the thingy. And obviously you don't want to be late, so you're blocking a chunk of time before, during, and after the webinar, right? It disrupts your day. So it's wasting more time as your attendee. For someone delivering the webinar, part of the team, they're thinking, where's Dill? Why isn't he showing up? And when you show up, they haven't watched this webinar for the 100th time to make sure they tick all the boxes so they can do the certificate bit. We got rid of the certificate bit. You're not sitting there watching it. If you can record your webinars, because look, think about it. Your webinar is not the first time it's going to be delivered. If you're creating a webinar training, you're going to deliver it again and again. So just record it. There's your phase 2, webinar automation. Record it, just like this one. This is going to be recorded. I'm not going to do this live every time, right? It's much more efficient and consistent and easier for everyone. Now I'm going to come to the best bit. Okay. This is distribution. What do I mean by distribution? Distribution is getting the webinar into the hands of the people who actually need to watch it. Exactly like this one. So how are we distributing this one? You've got the certificate bit sorted, right? Done. You've recorded the webinar. That's your webinar delivery automated, yeah? So you're going ding, dum, and the final part, boom, boom, and the final part is sometimes webinars you need to get webinars from outside the organization. If you're the provider, you're saying, well, how can we find webinars that are more appropriate? And this whole thing is a demonstration. So what are we doing? We're getting a certificate to automate the thing. We're getting a QR code to automate the CPD certificate. We're recording this webinar so we don't have to deliver it each time. Now you've gone from there to there to there. And the final element is the distribution. How do we automate that? You could put it on any platform. YouTube, LinkedIn. Hopefully we're going to work out how to put this on LinkedIn. It's definitely going on YouTube. YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and the hundreds of other ones that all the kids seem to be using now. So look, previous webinar was like this. You've gone bam, boom, boom. You're basically collapsing the waiting time twice for the attendee. You're getting rid of all the overhead for the providers. And here's the roadmap to do it. Pure magic. Yeah. So here's the key piece of tech that you need to start with. It's not even really tech. And again, I'm not on commission with these guys. Sign up with these guys. They'll automate the CPD certificate for you. Once you get your webinar certified, and the cost is, listen, don't tell these guys, cost is ridiculously low. I don't know how these guys do it. So when they first rang me up and they said, oh, we got this webinar product, and it's X for 3 years. I thought it was charge every time the webinar gets delivered. It's actually a one-off charge for that webinar being delivered for 3 years. And I'm thinking, no, I haven't got this right. So here it is. It's from the CPD group. There's if you go to, I'll read it out for you. The cpd.group. And here's the precise address, CPD webinars, but you'll find it on the site. Go and see the pricing just in case you ain't. Pure magic. CPD group. I'm trying to wrangle a commission deal out of you. I'm not on one yet, right? I'll let you know. So look, I just thought this idea is so great. I'm going to put together training, not on just how to do this little bit. Let me go through it again. Not just on how to do the CPD certification certificate automation. I'm going to show you how to automate your webinars and automate the distribution, because it's like, I knew step phases 2 and 3 already. I've got to do this. But what was missing was that phase 1 in automation. Now you've got it. You've got something when you're delivering CPD webinars, you can automate the whole lot. Hopefully you're watching this webinar on a YouTube or a LinkedIn, maybe Instagram, right? You'll see it being done with this webinar. And there's no reason why you can't do it with your own webinars. You just simply need to buy. No, it's not a sales pitch. This is the key to unlocking all of that amazing automation. Great. So now we've come to the now. What do we need to do now? Reminder, take the quiz. Start your AI journey. We've got loads of resources coming your way. Lots of free stuff. And if we can help you further, we will do. And I'm going to share how we work on that in this section. So we're in the now. What do we need to do right now? What's achievable right now, and how it can help you? So look, I thought I'd share this. I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for this one day. And I'm going to share this now. So one of my previous careers was working in tech, And I promise you it wasn't me, it was the help desk guys. We sit next to them, and they'd have this, this is when initially computers and the internet started up, and it was great fun working in that environment. But as you could imagine, someone on a help desk deals with the same questions day in, day out. In fact, I saw something quite funny in a comedy program. I can't repeat it. It's definitely not repeatable. It is a slightly naughty. Anyway, look, so these guys on help desk used to have this phrase, code ID 10T, right? And it got so famous. It was a way of the help desk calling users who were having a simple problem an idiot, right? They couldn't literally say we've got an idiot on the line, so they turned around and got code ID 10T. And if you read it right way around, you could guess what that spells. And there was also a whole lot of merchandise. I'm sure Intel didn't create this. Intel was really famous at that point. Intel inside, idiot outside. It's a bit cruel. I don't really like it, but it is funny though. Yeah. And this is our version of it at AI Now Academy. And I strictly believe this. The AI is in the computer. The actual intelligence is in your head. So we're here to try and help you. AI is inside. Use your actual intelligence that sits outside, right? Come on. We can do it. I know it's difficult. Let us help you, right? So this is the whole motivation for doing this. Now, it's a very quick recap. I'm going to try and keep it quick. Yeah, this is a CPD process that I went through. From the attendee's point of view, from the provider's point of view. So, do the CPD certification automation. I've gone through it. And if you guys are listening, you want to put me on a commission, the CPD group, put me on a commission. I'm not on a commission yet. So look, get rid of that bit. You don't need to do it. Put a QR code. I'm going to give you the QR code in a minute. You'll see the demonstration, literally as you're attending this webinar. You don't need to do this anymore, right? Put the QR code, let your attendees do it themselves. The system is pure magic, right? Then you don't need to create the CPD certificates. Forget that. You also don't need to manage. Okay, so we're in the next stage, which is if you choose to do the webinar delivery automation, you won't even need to manage the webinar. And I'm sure you're tired of listening to the same webinar 50 times, ticking off all the people that are attending, sending reminders, all of that. Now, from the attendee's point of view, that's a great result. Why? Because it eliminates, if you automate this bit, it eliminates the time they're having to wait to find the webinar and book it. And occasionally I've thought, I needed to do that training. I wish I had it now. I would have done it because it's relevant to the project I'm doing. So in that scenario, eliminate that time for the attendees, you get a better result. And also, by eliminating that time, they can choose the time that suits them to do it, which means they've got their attention full on. It's a win-win there. Win for you as a provider, double win for the attendee. They can choose the time that's convenient when they won't get interrupted in their own time, when they're able to give it their full attention. So that's a magic set of wins there. So the next section is if we can automate the distribution, you don't need to spend the email reminders. You don't need to organize the bookings. For you as a provider, this is the process we're doing at the moment. All of those at the bottom can be eliminated, and I'm going to go through the roadmap again. It's not in that order. It's actually in the opposite order. If you watch the training, you'll see it. I'm going to recap this very quickly for you. So this is the CPD automation roadmap. I've given this a lot of thought. I've given this... I've thought about this a lot because I've come across this. So, phase 1. Automate your CPD certification. That is a massive win, right? It will, as a provider, it'll get rid of massive amounts of problems, massive amounts of work. Don't need to do it. right? So basically you're collapsing time for you as a provider. It's going, this is almost eliminated. Now, the next phase is to automate your webinars. Because don't forget, webinars are a little bite-sized piece of training. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. That's all they are, right? So they're bite-sized pieces of training. There's no reason why we can't automate them. The technology has existed for ages, more than 5 years. Yeah, that's ages in the current world. Yeah, you can record your webinars because you could put you don't need to track the training. You could do it there, and this means you've eliminated all this waiting time that people do to wait to get to the webinar. For you as a provider, you've got rid of another chunk of work that you need to do. And phase 3 is distribution. So if you're a company that delivers webinars, or if you work in a company that you need to organize webinars, once you can learn how to do your distribution, that's phase 3. So remember, start with the CPD Certificate Automation, webinar automation and distribution. It's the opposite order of that webinar process that I've showed you. So look, let me remind you. It's the opposite order of this. Start with that CPD Certificate Automation, go to the webinar delivery automation, and then do the distribution. So what's distribution? Distribution is getting your webinars to sit on where your users are going to find them. This is a demonstration of all three. In a minute, you'll get the CPD, click the code. That's your certification done. This is a recorded webinar. You'll see the automation in action right now. And distribution. You found this webinar in some platform. Somebody shared it with you. So we've eliminated all three phases of it. And hopefully, if you take a webinar, share it with your webinar provider. Sorry, if you're a CPD attendee, share it with the people who provide you your CPD. If you're a CPD provider, watch this, go through it. And if you've got more questions, I'd love to answer your questions. It's our mission to eliminate needless stuff we don't need to do. What's the total impact if you carry out the whole entire project? You've gone and eliminated all of this, so your training can be delivered instantaneously almost. You find it, deliver it, basically. That's what we're trying to get to. Eliminate the stuff you don't need to do. Do the stuff you do need to do. So here's the demo of it. This is the code. This is a QR code. Click it, put your name in, put your email. You will get the CPD certificate from us. Bingo. Nobody's sitting here creating that certificate and delivering it to you. It's an automated system. Thank you very much, CPD Group, for doing it. It's a piece of magic. Now, don't forget this. So I hope you enjoyed this webinar. Quick share. This is part of our mission to deliver knowledge and strategy, but the way we do it is through the ASK system, where you take a quick assessment, take the quiz, and it's an assessment. We'll give you some free strategy. This is part of that strategy delivery. You'll get a whole bunch more stuff. And then if you decide to work with us, we're happy to share our knowledge and experience, help you deliver stuff in this AI age we've got coming. Don't be scared. We're here to help you. So my name's Dil Gujral. I hope you enjoyed our training. Look forward to seeing you shortly.